Hi, I'm Evie Olmsgirl, and this is my interview series, Sacred Water Visionary Women of Freedom. And I'm going to bring on Nadine so we can do this interview. This is episode 12. Did it work, Nadine? Oh, good, it worked. Hi, how are you?
Hey, hey, doing okay. How you doing?
Good. I just realized I feel like we met at the Airbnb and we're talking for a while at in San Diego at Brooke, and like there was a lot of people there. Priya was there, and
Yeah,
we talked for a while, and then with Val too, we were like laughing with you and stuff.
yeah. I think that sounds familiar. Were we in the pool together?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I actually didn't realize it was you when I reached out to you. I just, yeah, something about your energy. I was like, oh, I should interview her, and then you said you're 4A, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how's your day going? Did you enjoy the huddle
Yeah, the huddle's great. It was just the stress around that with just things are beyond my control outside of the call.
with roommate stuff?
Oh yeah. So I
Yeah.
think that's the beauty of this business is learning the personal development skills to uphold your dignity and your energy field and still move forward and be creative. Because
Yeah.
definitely tested my sanity and my patience, like
Aw. How
old
long
me
have
would
you
have
lived
been
together for?
not that long. So like 4 months.
Okay. Okay. So
Yeah.
it's like the mask is coming off now and it's like maybe just gotta switch gears.
Yeah, something's got to change, that's for sure. So who knows? It might lead me to a new home, or they might get out, or I might just hit the road and travel. I mean, that would be an edge.
Yeah.
So
And tomorrow's a new moon too, so it's like maybe a good time for new beginnings or who knows. You're in Texas, right? I think.
I am,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, cool, which is my favorite state. So in regards to this business, how long have you been here? And yeah, what was your like life like before, and what has it been like during this process of getting to 4A, getting to this rank?
Yeah. Well, my story is incredibly unique and complex. So I'll give you like the Cliff Notes version. So I've actually been drinking the water and sharing it for 5 years. And I like when Enagic came to me originally, I was in a space in my life where I was in the food service industry. I was working my ass off, feeling disconnected from my vision. And so when this originally came into my life 5 years ago, it was a prayer answered in regards to something more out there for myself. And then even just the water, I had a download to change my water, and I had this woman come into my life who happened to have the water and this incredible business online. So, as any newbie, I like jumped on in and I like didn't know what I was doing. I had so much learning growth, but I'll tell you, like, that 4 years that I was drinking and sharing the water, the personal development has been a huge thing in what has not only kept me still going, but even like leaning in and enjoying the fruits of my labor with my personal development journey. But I actually reactivated my business last year around March. It was like this time in my life where I was like, all right, something's got to change. I wasn't getting the results I was wanting in my business and even in my life. It was, I think everything kind of bleeds into one area or the next. And so I was like, all right, if I'm going to do this, I have to be completely open to this business, because before I was like, I had a lot of prosperity wounding. I wasn't actually sharing the business opportunity. I was just sharing the water and these technical things. It was like an infomercial. It's just total amateur. So I said, all right, if we're doing this, we have to recommit and we have to be open to all of it. And I did. I put a ring on it. And then within 9 months, I went to 4A. And
Amazing.
yeah, and so it just goes to show, and I've seen this similar storyline playing out with people in this business. It's
Yeah.
it's an energy frequency.
Yeah.
It's a frequency. And so I share my story not to discourage some people, because some people might like, well, gosh, how many years it took you? Well, no. Like it's because I had to upgrade the frequency
Yeah.
and the tools in my tool belt to then attract that kind of like status.
Yeah.
So Since
And it's
then,
actually
yeah,
not that long comparing to school or, other, you know what I mean? Like, even the trades, like there's so many, you said you were in the hospitality business before, and I feel
yeah,
like time can just fly by and you're still there making tips or, like doing things a certain way, but all of a sudden it's like 10 years, 50, for some people, depending on your age. So actually 4 years with the personal development, you didn't lose anything. It sounds like you actually gained, even if it wasn't the level that you wanted your business to go. Like you still had the courage to step in, to be an entrepreneur, to go through what you needed to for personal development, and then realize, okay, I have the courage to switch gears, right? So
yeah,
4 years actually in that sense is not long. And I feel like a lot of people can think, okay, this is like a get rich scheme, but it's not. It's actually still work. It's just we don't have to clock in and clock out. We do that
yeah.
more with ourselves. And it's like, we are our business, right? So
Yep.
yeah, good for you and I think when we met, you said that you are now under Mary or
Yeah, which
yeah.
that's a unique story, but yeah.
Okay, okay. Because I interviewed her as well. She was actually my first interview. So, anyways, but yeah, that's cool. So now you're 4A, and now is it feeling just with your roommate and what's going on that there's another like switching gears, or are you going to Georgia for the event or?
I am, yeah. I'll be in Georgia for the event, so I'll see you there. Are you going?
I'm not going yet unless
No.
something changes in the next 2 days. I'm like actually waiting for my green card. So if that hops into my mailbox in the next 2 days, then it's like I just have access to more funds and just certain things. But
Well,
yeah, so who knows? Like if I am there, then it'll be like a little miracle. But I mean, miracles
yeah.
happen all the time, and I feel like that's a big part of this business is that we find a way out of no way, right? So yeah.
Exactly. And I mean, I just also want to share too for more context. So, like just anyone in our audiences that are out there on a limb and they're thinking about joining, or maybe they're in a hardship in their life and they just don't know like if they can move forward. I literally, like I told you, I went for 9 months after that time period, and then my dad passed away literally
I
like
remember you
the
sharing
month
that story.
a month after I reached that status, okay? And then me and my sponsor, Mary, split apart and we went our separate ways.
Okay.
So I literally was activated on a whole other level. I had the choice to just leave it all behind or to keep moving forward. And so since then, I have been moving forward. I've been showing up in events, I've been showing up online. I'm still sharing the water. I'm still drinking the water. I'm still sharing this incredible opportunity. But it's really just a test of faith. And I think that that's a storyline I hear in this business is it's faith, faith in action.
Yeah, definitely. I've been listening to a bit of Napoleon Hill. Yeah, and I mean, I like his book, Think and Get Rich, but I also, or Think and Grow Rich, but I've been liking a lot of his lectures. My husband's gotten into his lectures, and he talks a lot about faith. And he was talking about in one of the lectures how he said, I mean, this was probably, I don't know, at least, 40 years ago, whatever, that he recorded them, but that 98% of people don't have faith in themselves. And that's actually what holds them back to even go for their vision. So I don't know, how you exactly calculate that percent, but that kind of blew my mind because, here in this business, like we're not all like that 1% that come from, this rich whatever, but it's like we're still somehow leaning into our vision. And, whether we always get along with our sponsor or not or whatever, it's like we still are all together choosing to follow our vision and letting the water kind of lead us or feeling called to the water. And so with the water itself,
Hmm.
I know you said you originally were talking a lot about the technical things, but was there something about the water that felt sacred for you in regards to your transformation, or that you've seen in kind of your team or around you, seeing that because for me that's like what the water is called sacred, because there's crazy transformations, even just in the vibration of drinking the water. So is there a personal story or a story that you have close to you that you could share specifically about how that water has also supported in that way?
Yeah, great question. So, I mean, my personal health transformation is not like a lot of those other ones you see they're exciting online. Like, mine was more subtle and more of a lifestyle shift. So like for me, the direct water, I would say like it like rushed energy throughout my being when I first drank it. Okay. And then my acid reflux went away within 2 weeks. I've had that throughout my life.
That's
So
amazing.
I rarely get it now. And then my weight, I would say that's something more longitudinal that I noticed. So I had a lot of puffiness in my face and in my body prior to just from smoking and drinking and all the stuff that I was putting in my body. And over that first 2 years, I noticed like my weight started to go down immensely, which I guess that's more of a dramatic transformation. But I mean, I've already been like a slim person, so it was just more personal to me. But I think the most remarkable thing that I noticed that I have a strong suspicion it has to do a lot with the water is when I went to do a naturopathic test. Um, my lungs a year later were 100% remarkable, as in there was nothing to change, nothing to improve, and I was smoking cigarettes and smoking weed for years.
Wow. That's
So
amazing.
I think I contribute a lot of that to the water, and of course the lifestyle shifts I was doing, going more whole food, plant-based. But I think the stories around me are more intriguing to me. So like my mother, who's been a struggling alcoholic for years, drank this water and borrowed my machine for 3 months, and on month three on her own, she messaged me and said my IBS symptoms, which she has it really, really bad, went away. I don't know like what to like think of it.
Mm.
And another friend who's has struggled with colitis, like in two
Yeah.
months of drinking the water, the same thing, reduced symptoms. And then the craziest story I heard recently is somebody up north, they had a son that had all these crazy health deformalities from the mother getting pregnant and having forced vaccination when she was in
Wow.
utero. And the son was born, and like they tried all these different things, and then the one thing that they noticed that stood out the most was the water. Within the water 2 weeks, their son noticed like dramatic difference. And I mean, there's just so many stories, but I just think it's beautiful. The water physically can do so much for us, and I'm intrigued by the science, but most importantly, I think the spirituality of this water
Yep.
and the humanitarian aspect of it, because I see this being such a huge code of consciousness upgrade for our planet, and
Agreed.
it just the physical. It makes sense with what the spiritual and where we're heading as a culture, you know?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I speak about that a lot because I felt like actually it was Mary and one other huddle, I think with Priya, that they were talking about the call to the water. Because at first, when I was sharing the water, I was also not as technical, but more businessy. And then I was like, okay, something needs to shift because I also felt like things weren't going or flowing the way that I wanted to. And then I realized, what was it that brought me to the water? For me, it felt like a call. Like I literally had three people reach out to me, and it's like, I always get things repeating, like the universe, God, love, goddess will just repeat. And so I kept hearing like water, 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 water. And I was doing like low tick at the time. I'm like, okay, maybe I'm supposed to do this, you know? I had already tried the water like while I was in nutrition school working at this health food store in Vancouver in Canada. But yeah, so I do feel like something about this call and also the water itself. I lived at the ocean for a lot of years and I'm not living now. So it's like being away from the ocean and just water itself, like it's cleansing and it's abundant. And especially when you're away from it, even like the water machine, when you're away from it, it's like I noticed the huge difference.
Yes.
So I feel like, yeah, water is like feminine and it's intuitive and it's, overflowing and just all of that symbolically or spiritually that, connects with it. And so in all of that, as a visionary woman, because this podcast is called Sacred Water Visionary Women of Freedom, what is your vision right now, and how have you felt more free in this process leading you to your vision?
That's a loaded question.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
I didn't prepare for that one.
That's okay.
I I would say like, well, my ultimate vision, like I just share that, and that's how this business vehicle also weaves in. Is like I'm all about freedom.
Yeah.
I'm freedom of choice, freedom inside, freedom outside. ultimately would like to live my lifestyle and continue to live my lifestyle where I am time free. I don't have to think about how resources are going to show up. I'm contributing to a world that's more greener and that we are like literally healthy
Yeah.
as a nation. And I see a vision of more people being connected to the water as a conduit,
Yeah.
but most importantly, being connected to ourselves. And so my vision is hosting connection workshops, more of that in the future. Where we're connecting to our heart. I have a vision of more places like wellness places and people's homes being hooked up with this incredible sacred device. And I have a vision where we're all just free, like more free on a level that we can't even comprehend. I know that's possible. It's just claiming that. And my vision is like abundance being our birthright and pleasure being our birthright. And
Yeah.
so living a lifestyle that's in alignment to that and doing the things and putting the things in our body that are going to nourish that temple so that we can be in this high vibrational frequency and live in our dharma.
I love that. I love that you are connected with, it sounds like, your sovereignty, but also wanting to help and support what I would call sort of the new earth or just the
Yes.
global rising in that way. I love that. And
Yeah.
I just want to close out. So I remember when we spoke, you were also speaking about a home system water thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I felt called to ask you about that. Are you still connected with that? And do you want to share a little bit about that? Because that can also support people, whether they, were to get the Kangen or the Kangen or not. It also sounded really helpful and supportive as well.
For sure, yeah. So that is a beautiful tool as well that I've been starting to pair now with the ionizers for those that are able to do all the taps. But what's great about that is that we're literally targeting the water at a medical grade level as well as the Kangen, but for the contaminant removal. So that piqued my interest because, for one, something that's more universal for people, even in other third world countries, can technically use this. And then we
Amazing.
can use this if like shit hits the fan with the utility system. We have a boil water notice, right? Like this is the only thing I've seen on the market so far residentially that can actually target that. So when we're putting that with the ionizer, it's supporting the ionizer as well because we're not having all that hard mineral buildup. But most importantly, we're covering the entire basis. We're literally getting water at that basic foundational level, which is what we all want. And then we're taking it to the next level with putting that ionizer on it and bringing that water back to life, bringing that voltage and the fun stuff. So highly, highly recommend. It's something you can technically put under the sink too, but it's mainly for the whole house.
Okay, amazing. And if
Yeah.
people wanted more information about that, they'd just reach out to you, or do you have a link on your Instagram or?
I am working on updating all that. Just reach out to me and I'll
Cool.
send you the proper resources.
Okay, cool. Well,
Yeah.
thanks. It's good to see you. And yeah, it'll be interesting to see where your journey leads because it sounds
Likewise.
like you're about to take a little turn. So yeah, and maybe I'll see you in Georgia. Either way, I'm sure I will see you soon. And thanks for connecting today.
Thanks, Evie. So good to talk.
You too. Take care. Bye bye.
All right, bye.